You're welcome back, and of course, your comments are welcome. We are live on X Spaces. You can interact with us also on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course, on myjoyonline.com. Let's settle for the details now. Now, the minority in Parliament is this afternoon demanding tough actions from President Mahama against the Gold Boss CEO Sammy Gyamfi, who was caught on camera doling out several notes of dollars to self-styled evangelist Patricia Cranton, popularly known as Nana Grada. Now, the incidents have received mixed reaction despite an apology from Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. The minority MPs have described the conduct as financial recklessness and shameful arrogance. Now, here's Member of Parliament's Finance Committee, Dr. Kabirutia Mahama.
Over the weekend, Ghanaians were subjected to a disturbing video showing Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, the National Communication Officer of the ruling NDC, and the acting CEO of the Ghana Gold Board, casually doling out bundles of the United States dollar to a known controversial figure, evangelist Patricia Odro, aka Nana Agrada. This display of financial recklessness is not only a betrayal of public trust, but a slap in the face of millions of Ghanaians currently grappling with the devastating effect of the cedi, inflation, and the unbearable cost of living. It is even more shameful that this act was committed by someone who has in the past championed populist rhetoric about economic discipline, cedi loyalty, and anti-corruption. While the cedi has shown signs of recovery, appreciating from 14.15 cedi to approximately 13.14 per dollar as at May 9, 2025, this incident undermines efforts to stabilize our economy. The casual distribution of foreign currency by a high-ranking official sends a message of indifference to the struggle of ordinary Ghanaians. The Bank of Ghana has constantly reminded us through various notices that pricing, advertising, receipting, or making payment for goods and services in foreign currency without authorization from the Bank of Ghana is illegal. The penalties for such violation includes a fine of up to 700 penalty units or a prison term of not more than 18 months or both. In other words, this is the prescribed penalty for anyone doing businesses with currency in Ghana or foreign currency without authorization from the Bank of Ghana. And from our checks, Mr. Gyamfi has not got authorization from the Bank of Ghana to do business with foreign currency. And it is clearly a violation of the Foreign Exchange Act, which has been passed to, this is a law governing the circulation and transaction with foreign currencies. We in the minority are calling for the following action or immediate actions. One, the immediate sanctioning of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi as acting CEO of the Ghana Gold Board. Secondly, we are calling for a full-scale investigation into the source of the dollar bundle displayed in the viral video. The president has clearly told the good people of Ghana that, just recently, about a week ago, that if you violate his own code of conduct, you are going to feel sanctioned. By now, we should have seen a letter being issued dismissing Mr. Sammy or suspending him pending further investigation. This is only the right thing to do.
So this reaction came from the minority this morning in Parliament. But let me bring you the foundation to this particular story. And for those who are watching for the very first time, this is what transpired over the weekend that has got Facebook talking.
Honorable.
Honorable.
That was Sammy Gyamfi. Yes. Who say woman?
Monday. Mommy,
Right, so this appears to be something that happened at a funeral ceremony. And you saw the acting CEO of the Gold Board, giving out money to this evangelist so-called Nana Agrada. It's unclear the reason for that donation, but there's been a lot of reaction to this matter. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi himself has come out to apologize, saying that he was only doing so not with any evil intent, but to show, benevolence to somebody who was in need of something quite urgent. The woman herself has also come out to speak to her. Now, this morning, the chief of staff, we are told, summoned Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to the Jubilee House to explain his action. It's not clear whether that meeting has taken place, is still taking place, or will take place, and the subsequent actions that will be taken. But what sanctions can the acting CEO of the Gold Board actually face under the new Code of Conduct for Public Office Holder? And this is what we've put together to bring some clarity to this particular matter. So the new Code of Conduct for Government Appointees, and this was, launched last week by the President himself. And number one is declaration of conflicts of interest, and also to avoid ostentation. I don't know whether this falls under ostentatious, lifestyle. There's also no gift from parties with government interest. In this case, this is not the other way around. It is rather the government official who is giving gift to somebody. So clearly, as far as that particular matter is concerned, the code appears silent on this matter. There's also the declaration of official gift above 20,000. And again, the government official is not a recipient here, it's rather the giver in this particular matter. And it's unclear how much money went to the evangelists, whether it's $8,800, $1,000, $10,000 is unclear. And also other matters that is contained in this code of conduct, no public funds for gift hampers. These are matters that obviously falls outside the scope of what we are discussing this particular afternoon. Well, we've heard from civil society groups, we've heard from the Center for Democratic Development. They say that at best, Mr. Gyamfi could be suspended for this show of opulence in the full glare of the cameras. We've also heard from the Ghana Integrity Initiative. They are asking for presidential directive on this particular matter. Now, this afternoon, we heard the minority make the point that President Mahama should act tough on this particular matter. Now, joining me in the studio is the MPP's Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, member of Parliament for Walewale, also joining me in the studio. And of course, on Zoom, we'll also be joined by the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bande. But let me start with Dr. Tia. Doctor, you're welcome to the program. First time seeing you. Yes, and I trust you are doing well. Right, so you took an interest in the matter. I'm wondering why. That is something politicians do. Everybody does. I'm sure you've done it before.
Yeah, so every person, one way or other, show benevolence, show magnanimity, would, out of generosity, give much more politicians we do. But if the giver is politically exposed and what is being given borders on the laws of the country, there's every reason for world-meaning Ghanaians to complain and to raise issue. I'm not sure Mr. Sammy Gyamfi would have had this public opprobrium and this kind of commentary and the backlash if he had given some 1,000 Ghana cedi to Agrada, or 500 Ghana cedi, or even 5,000 Ghana cedi on the quiet. People wouldn't have had this kind of, but you see,
it's the dollar that's the issue.
It is the dollar, and then this may be the tip of the iceberg, that a public official, a CEO, who we recently gave $279 million as revolving fund, person who has been in charge as a custodian of every gold mine in the country.
Right.
Now, a public person or someone asking for money, he has no Ghana currency with him to give. The only money left with him to give out was dollars. That shows the level of people wanting to keep dollars and transact in dollars within the country. And the laws of the country clearly prohibits that. And if someone is doing that, someone who should have known better, someone who is a lawyer, a layman could be saying, we can excuse a layman. If someone of that stature is doing it, every Ghanaian would have a reason to complain. And I think that this is why Mr. Sammy Gyamfi also realizes that, look, I have gone against the law, I have acted with indiscretion, and I should apologize. And I think that we made it clear in the press statement that if anyone is suggesting that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi did nothing wrong, the person is clearly being hypocritical or lacks understanding of the rules governing.
And they are asking which particular law he's broken.
Well, so even if we have no benefit of reading the law, if you're a follower of Ghanaian economy, you have realized that the Bank of Ghana has issued several notices directing and warning against anyone transacting, receipting, or making payment in dollar or any foreign currency. Even if you did not read the law, you have followed the announcement and the notices and the advice and then the warning by the central bank. Aside that, the Foreign Exchange Act, Section 3, talks about licenses. In other words, Section 3, subsection 1, clearly says that no person shall be allowed to have any business to do with dollar without authorization from the central bank, the Bank of Ghana. If you read subsection 3 and 4, it clearly defines what businesses with dollar is. It includes payment and receipting in foreign currency or dollar or any foreign currency for that matter. We also know that we chose for ourselves the Ghana cedi as the legal tender. In other words, for transaction, anything having to do with money payment in Ghana, within the shores of Ghana, within the jurisdiction of Ghana, that payment must be made in Ghana cedi. And that's what the law clearly abhors or fronts on the fact that you even price anything in dollar.
In this case, he says it was a gift.
So now, the point is that you are gifting someone in dollar, not even in cedi. You are transacting, whether it is gratuitous or for benefits, you are transacting in dollar.
Maybe that was the only money on him at the time.
And that even speaks of the fact that why should a public officer not holding cedi, but holding dollar to a funeral? You see, those are the questions. That the fact that you even have the incentive as a public official to keep money in dollar and you can transact with it within the shores of the country speaks of the level of respect you put on the laws of the country. So clearly, there's no justification whatsoever for someone keeping dollar. And if you reach Section 15, it even says if you want to do business or international payments, Mr. Gyamfi could have said that, look, I wanted to pay something offshore and I needed the dollar to pay, and that argument could hold. But the law says that even if you want to do some sort of international payment, they must be done through the bank. You can't go withhold. And even if you want to travel, those of us who travel more often, if you want to travel, they demand that you must show proof of travel. I can have dollar account. Okay, every Ghanaian can have. Okay, but it must be with the bank. If I want to travel, I must go and demonstrate that I want to travel. And I can only be entitled to $10,000.
Not more.
Not more.
If it is more, you declare at the airport.
If it's more, you have to do it through wire transfer.
Or you declare it at the airport.
Well, or that is if you want, they will not even give you. That's the rule. But if you have more, if you get it through other sources, maybe through the bureau, through the bank, and you put all that together, it's more than 10,000. You must declare. Otherwise, you must make wire transfer. So these are the reasons why we have issues. As a person, I feel sorry for Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, a young person. I would have loved that he didn't get himself involved in this. With all sincerity, I have no issue whatsoever against him. But the law is the law.
I'll come back to you because we are asking for certain demands from government. Let me bring in Mustafa Bande. Is a deputy. We don't have him yet. When we have him, we'll bring him so that we can ask him some few questions as to what government is doing about this particular matter. But Dr. Chia, at the news conference, I heard you make the point that at that time you said you were picking information that the national security may have undertake some search in it. So I don't know whether whether this information is credible. Yeah,
we cannot confirm that. We were only reading in the news that the presidency has directed that his house should be searched. I hope it is true. If it's not true, then it means that the government, true to our call, has not done anything about the situation.
But this morning, the chief of staff summoned him before him, summoned him to come to the Jubilee House.
The question is, you are summoning him to come and do what?
To come and explain his actions.
Do you need to explain? Do you need to explain that the president has clearly told us the code of conduct? And he said when you breach it, you are leaving office. The president should have even felt before even calling him, issued a statement reaffirming his faith in the code of conduct, reaffirming his fidelity to the laws of the country before he even called Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to come and possibly order ultra pattern. Okay? Before you condemn a man, let him be hurt, right? But you can start by instilling and invoking confidence by first asking for his suspension and conducting investigation. If nothing is found improper, then you can reinstate him. But you don't say that, oh, come and explain. If I come and say that, well, the man has already even explained himself in his social media post. There's no explanation whatsoever that you need from them. The man has explained himself and apologized for sin. So I don't know the kind of explanation the chief of staff would want from Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. In other words, maybe they are looking for excuse to exonerate him or to pardon him of any culpability that he would have been facing. But
the government code of conduct, the only where this matter may come close is where he mentioned, for example, that office holders must not lead a ostentatious lifestyle. I don't know whether that is where you think he's fallen foul.
So the code of conduct has also mentioned that they should eschew opulence. They should eschew opulence.
And this for you?
Clearly, a man in the car, even the kind of car he drives, okay, the payment or gift.
It's unclear whether the car belongs to him.
Whatever it is, the payment or the gift in dollars is clearly opulence. No other currency can you use to demonstrate opulence in this country than the United States dollar. Maybe the pound sterling, right? So clearly it falls within the definitional elements of what opulence constitutes. The man has also said they need to be counted for the use of public funds. We don't know whether Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, the amount doled out to the evangelist were public funds or not. That we cannot establish, okay? We would give him the benefit of doubt on that, okay? But clearly, you can't say this does not fit under opulence. I mean, what will explain that? Generosity to give someone in the United States dollar currency that is not even a legal tender within the country. I mean, it is for the good people of Ghana to decide and for the world media to analyze this issue. But clearly, this action on all fours are within the code of conduct that the president so launched, and even the laws that have, I have not mentioned about the Currency Act. Even though there's no explicit provision on the currency, but it said that anything you do that undermines the value of the Ghanaian cedi constitute an offense.
Wrong. And then you are asking from Dima, but before you do that, let me just read to you some comments on social media coming from loyalists of the NDC, including some certain members of parliament. Your colleague, Francis Xavier, also says that it is well, you committed no crime. The haters are hurt. They can't believe that God can lift and bless you such that you can become a blessing unto others. Leave them. Let them do their worst. We got you. God has your back. Stay focused on bless. And this is coming from Francis Xavier.
With the greatest respect to my senior and to the lawyer, I think that this is blind solidarity. So blind solidarity. He knows, much as we all know, that comment he made is not made born out of fidelity to the law that he practiced. Is not made born out of the fidelity to country and the nation. It's purely based on relation. And look, from a personal point of view, I feel sorry. If you say haters, who are the haters? Me, that the appointment that I will not even get. If Sammy Gyamfi should fire, it's going to another NDC person. So I have no reason to hate Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, right? Those people, NDC people who are complaining, that is probably those he's calling haters. The NDC members who are complaining. But look, they have every reason to complain that I'm a party food soldier. I'm asking for school fees from someone. The person saying he doesn't have school fees to give me. And then sin giving money, saying he's generous to someone who is not technical quote unquote, not needy. Agrada is not needy. Agrada may be richer than myself and you. So that clearly It is for them to handle at their party level. But if you characterize those people as haters, I'm afraid Mr. Sosu is only showing blind solidarity and is allowed. A lot of the NDC people put up social media comments, some of them deleted them thereafter.
Right.
I know a lot of them, I can mention them, but they upon hindsight, in solidarity, they realized that they were erring. They cannot defend such a thing.
The Center for Democratic Development, Tio Champon, says that at best, Sammy Gyamfi should be suspended for his conduct. The Ghana Integrity Initiative is asking for some kind of a probe by the government, and if the government wants to continue to win the support of the people, then this is a classical example of the president coming hard or soft on this appointee. First, let's start with the CDD. They think that at best, the worst that can happen to him is a suspension. Is that what you think?
I think it's the least that could happen to him. That's the least that could happen, considering the gravity of what he has done. That's the least that could happen to him. But if CDD is saying the worst, I don't know whether they are saying that what he has done is wrong, but because it's first-time offense, there should be mitigating measures, or because he has apologized. And I ask a question. Now, if Adu Bohino should come and apologize that I'm sorry for exercising this guy, will the government leave Adu Bohino?
But it's an entirely different matter.
No, I'm just asking, because it's an offense, so-called, right? It is a wrong, all right? So I'm just asking, if we take solace in the fact that someone comes to apologize, right, then he should be allowed to go scot-free. Then I don't think that should work for this country. So CDD is being charitable. CDD, with the greatest respect, if they say this is the list, and even our press statement, we said, okay, pending further investigation. If you say you suspend him, wow, it's indefinitely. Suspension indefinitely is also a punishment. But suspension pending investigation is the least that the president can do. And I think that if they had mentioned that, I wouldn't have had any issue or qualms whatsoever with that.
And then your own demand is what exactly?
Well, we are asking that the first demand was a suspension and further investigation. That's the first demand.
Perhaps the same thing that CDD is saying.
The same thing they are asking for. The second thing that we are asking for is a full-scale investigation to the source of that money.
Okay.
There could be public money. There could be private money. Okay. But that does not stop the fact that there has been an offense. Now, we have to go to the full length because we are giving Sammy Gyamfi the right of defense that you have not broken any rule. That's why we are saying that further investigation. If the Attorney General is so minded, he has to try Sammy Gyamfi within the laws of the country. Because if we are not able to curtail this issue, then we have no business coming after Abuchi. If we are not able to make any good out of this situation and demonstrating leadership, then we have no business chasing poor people trying to sell dollars and make difference of 1 Ghana cedi, 2 Ghana cedi for a living. Okay, so that is the expectation. This is a classical case for the president, and we mentioned in our statement that, look, God has a way of testing the faith and integrity of men. That beyond the rhetoric and beyond the words, the heart, whether the heart can stand the tribulation. The president, just a few days ago, mentioned that he's taking his appointees accountable. Locus classicus. He should act. If he fails in this, then whatever we are saying about discipline, about opulence, about code of conduct is mere noise. Nothing else.
But my concern is the sincerity politicians display, especially when it comes to matters of this. I remember when the Cecilia Dapa issue became topical. The NDC, including Sammy Gyamfi, who is now at the center of this controversy, was quite hard on the woman, asking that she be investigated, prosecuted for, keeping money in her home. The OSP, after their investigation, came to the fact that they didn't find any evidence to say that the dollar or the dollars in question was from a tainted source. And for that matter, the matter was left to Iyoko to investigate. Now, I remember the MPP defended Madam Cecilia Dapa throughout the entire process. The matter is still before court. I mean, how do you reconcile?
First and foremost, the NPP never defended Cecilia Dapa throughout the whole course. Even at a point, she lost her job consequent to that. That's one.
The president suspended her.
Yes.
Accepted her.
That is what I'm saying.
Her desire to step aside and allow for
maybe Mr.
investigation.
Sammy Gyamfi can do same. She lost her job. Probably it was backroom negotiation that president bring your suspension. Better than me firing you, right? So you cannot say MPP defended the woman all throughout. Again, at a time that the dollar was suffering, some of us said that, look, it doesn't make sense. There's no justification whatsoever that the CD is suffering, then you are keeping dollar in your house for someone to come and steal the dollar, right? There were MPP members, just like NDC, some NDC members are, who were speaking against Madam Cecilia Dapa. So it cannot be true that the NDC, throughout this particular journey of Cecilia Dapa, has never had question to scold her or to question her conduct. Now, I'm happy that some NDC members are also questioning the conduct of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Unfortunately, they are not questioning the conduct as a, but they are questioning the fact that he's giving it to someone who is not an NDC member. That's the only difference that I'm seeing in this whole episode. But they should be concerned that at a time that the government is claiming and asking us to praise them that the CD is gaining some grounds, a government official is doing something diametrically opposed to a policy directive of giving out your dollar and deal with your CD, right? That is inconsistent with their own policy, and that is inconsistent with the call on every Ghanaian to start patronizing the Ghanaian CD and to demand less of the dollar. So these are the issues we have. So I think that in any case, if MPP even did it and they got punished for that, shouldn't NDC take clue? Right? Again, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is an apostle when it comes to issues of this nature. Anti-corruption, CD loyalty, economic discipline. He speaks, he's a voice. In fact, he speaks authoritatively when it comes to such matters. He is the leading voice of the NDC when it comes to communication. He's a spokesperson for the government, of the party in government.
Right.
Right? So, such a person, we cannot hold brief for such a person. We cannot make excuses for such a person. If you and I make it, if a foot soldier in Abosonka, if an NDC foot soldier in Bunkpuru or Walewale does or any of this thing, we would pardon, or we can say let's pardon. But you are the one, a lawyer, speaking for the NDC, brought the NDC to power, committing the very offenses that the Ghanaian people punish the NPP for. We cannot say that we should let it go.
We'll be winding up soon, but let me bring in some other comments that I'm seeing on social media. So this is also coming from Shamima Muslim. She's the Deputy Government Communication Minister, if you like. Now, she says, is a recipient of the gift that has created this brouhaha. But the broader issue is how public servants are constantly navigating expectations. If you say no, you are seen as insensitive. We need a broader conversation on government financing and how to get boundaries. I'm sure this is something you also face on a daily basis.
You see, I'm happy that she's now changing her tone, her tonation and her approach. She made a comment earlier on and she has caused to delete it. And it all came in the sense of let's defend, let's defend. Now, the giver is wrong. The receiver is wrong. You can't then try to say that Agrada was not holding gun to his head and say that give me, right? That broader issue we can all discuss it. I agree that politicians and public office holders, there is this demand that when you step out in the car, people want you to give money.
Right.
Right. That demand is there. We can all discuss it. We can all say that that culture should be disdained. That culture should not be countenanced. We should confront it head on. We can all discuss that. But the moment you are not able to confront it and you fall foul of the law will have to take its course. So I think that blaming Agrada only on this matter, even in our press conference, we even say that, look, she's receiving, she's also committing an offense. Because aside that, there is the income tax law that requires that any gift you have to pay tax on it. Within 21 days, she has to go and file tax return on that amount and declare. And the GRA has an opportunity to demonstrate that their accounts, which has recorded zero for gift tax, will now have opportunity to record some income. And that will send a clear signal to every Ghanaian to begin learning if I have the gift, I'm supposed to pay tax on it, and you can call it the Agrada case. I think that it is important for the GRA to also show the way in this matter, so that when they go after her to pay the tax on the amount, whatever amount, 10,000, some are alleging 5,000, some are alleging, but what is clear on record is that the amount so given is in excess of 10,000 or in excess of 2,000 because count was more than 18 no's.
18
count was more than 18 notes. And before she grabbed
$1,800.
Yes, before she grabbed the others, right?
Okay.
If you follow the video slowly, the count on the amount was more than 18 before she grabbed the others. So if people are even saying $800, I just think that they wanted to fall below the 20,000 gift people are talking about. But clearly, if you watch the video is there.
The video is what
and everyone would now be candid with ourselves and look at the count and the pace at which it's counting. They were in excess of 800. 8 notes. They were in excess of 8 notes. Before the woman even grabbed the remainder of the bundle. Yeah, so these are the facts. So when people are throwing out figures, look at it. When people are throwing out figures and saying that it was only 800 and that it is 800, it is total lie on the face of the video. So anyone talking about 800 Ghana cedi is palpable lie because the count goes beyond 8. And the remaining of the bundle, and we know that logically, a bundle is about 10,000.
Right. If it is $100, if it is $100 note.
If it's, of course.
If it's $100, that's $10,000 bundle.
The only note in circulation in the country is 100, right? If it is, it's 10,000. Whether he had spent part of it somewhere before then, we cannot.
And that's the reason why you are demanding further investigation into this.
If he might have spent some somewhere before he even came to that place, especially so when he didn't have Ghana cedi with him. Right? So clearly, there's no justification. And I think that the young man has realized his mistake. He's apologized, but unfortunately, apology is not a remedy to the law. The law has some consequences and penalties so defined. And if he fits within those, there could be mitigating measures, but the law should not take, we should not say that the law shouldn't take its course. Otherwise, if I commit it and they are asking for my head, I'll just say that because I am not in power or because I'm not in a position of influence, that's why they are coming for my head.
All right. We're hoping to speak to the Deputy the General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bande, who is also the Deputy Operations Director at the Presidency. But we are here to get through to him and also get some governance experts on this particular discussion. But before I let you go, Dr. Tia, I mean, clearly, and this expose, if you like, dragging one of your own in the mud, obviously going to put pressure on you politicians, well, especially when people come to you asking for all manner of demand. I'm sure that by the time you get out of my city, we may meet one or two people in front of the office showering all manner of praises on you with the hope that some small cities will drop.
I'm sure they will be advised when they begin to know that these are crimes that they are forcing us to commit. I'm sure they will advise. That's one. Two, again, I want to make it clear that it's just unfortunate that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi has found himself in that corner. And again, personally, with my personal interest, I would say he should be forgiven. But that is not nationalistic. That is not building a country. But that is born out of my personal reasons. A young man, for that matter. These are matters different from the law and different from the laws that we have set for ourselves. The law may come to us at great discomfort and great displeasure. But if we find ourselves in that particular position, then we have to face the music, right? So put aside my personal interest in this matter, I think that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is a candidate for penal action, and he should face that. But if the president wants to be personal, that's my golden boy, I mean, whatever reasons is the eye of the NDC grassroots, and then he's sacrificing the nation for NDC and Sammy Gyamfi. And I'm not sure that's the kind of leaders that we want to put on the throne. We want leaders who are able to take hard decisions, leaders who look at the great discomfort and say, look, even this one is biting me, but I need to carry along the whole country. And I expect the president to come out this as a very strong man, as someone who is, when he says something, he means it. Otherwise, someone is asking, even 120 days, people are doling out dollars. Imagine what we have in 365 days, in 2 years, in 3 years. And I'm even surprised that in all this discussion, we don't even know where the president is. We don't even know where the vice president is. We don't even know where the speaker is. Of
course, you know where the president is in Togo as of this morning. The vice president is still on medical leave in the United Kingdom. The Speaker of Parliament It's unclear for me where he is, but the president we know
so
is in
clearly
trouble.
This country is without leadership because the
Why do you say so?
Constitution provides that in the absence of the president, the vice president, in the absence of both the speaker, right? In the absence of the speaker, the chief justice, we don't have chief justice. As to whether acting chief justice can be acting president, it's even an issue. So
as
we
a
don't
member
have
of parliament, you are not aware of any kind of transfer of power in the absence of the president.
The president has not communicated to members of parliament. He might have communicated to the speaker, and the speaker has the responsibility of informing members of parliament.
But are you aware whether there's been any kind of a temporary swearing-in ceremony in the absence of the president?
I'm not aware of any of such. And if anyone is aware, they should educate us, right? But these are issues that I will defer. But it's something that we must be worried that a president and the vice president and the speaker can just get up and leave the country and leave everyone wondering where we are when the Constitution provides that when someone is not there, this person should be sworn in to take these duties.
The law says that in the absence of the president, the vice president should act. The vice president, as we know as of now, is still on medical leave in the United Kingdom. In the absence of the vice president, it is the Speaker of Parliament. Well, as far as I know, we are not privy to any kind of a swearing-in ceremony as demanded by the Supreme Court. And then in the absence of the Speaker of Parliament, it is the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice on suspension, the acting is still in office. But nothing official as far as the change of command is concerned.
Yeah, I hold the view that acting Chief Justice is not the Chief Justice. And he cannot be made to superintend over the country. It's an issue for a constitutional interpretation. Maybe someone would have to invoke that and ask for clarity, right? I know Kukaza had cause or someone had a cause about the swearing in, whether the person must necessarily be swearing in. There must necessarily be some swearing in. The Supreme Court actually had the ruling that, yes, it must necessarily be sworn in. It cannot be by way of, by default, once the person is not there, the person acts. So we have jurisprudence, we have precedence, guidance of this. But when both or the three of them are not there, and we have acting Chief Justice, it's a constitutional.
You think it creates a vacuum?
Clearly, if there's a decision to take, even though there are other people who hold the view that if the president is not physical within the president,
he can still conduct his business.
Yeah, but
because of technology.
But the court disagrees with that. The court disagrees with that.
He must be physically present in the country.
He must be physical.
Once you are out of the jurisdiction.
Once you are out of the jurisdiction, you are not the president so-called, proper so-called. They must at all point in time be someone physical president within the jurisdiction of Ghana, right? That's what the Supreme Court decided on. So the president doing wireless meetings, doing online meetings, or asking the chief, that is not the president within the country. He's a president at large, okay? And it's an issue that people, the lawyers and then the constitutional experts should be asking.
But is the minority taking any keen interest in this matter?
Yes, I'm privy to some discussion. Some minority members, especially those within the constitutional and legal affairs committees, are raising that we are not hearing anything. Is it the case that it's a country that we say no one can decide to do anything? Maybe they will come out once we begin to broach discussion. The president, in the interest of the nation, the communication director should put to bear the arrangement so that everyone will know that this was what was done. This is the arrangement. This is the person in charge, so that we all know that Mr. Bafo-Boni is the president acting. Then we'll know. Or the speaker is whosoever is within the boundaries of the country. But if they keep everyone silent and think that, okay, they can do everything, I wonder if that is how we want to run a democracy is run on transparency and accountability. All right. Including the people who govern us.
Dr. Thank you so much for coming. When do you hope to hear from the president on the summit?
Well, so we by end of close to the day, because they cannot be meeting that we are allegedly mentioned that there was a meeting and we will not hear anything from the presidency. If the purported the report that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi House has been asked to research is anything true, we expect the national security again to also give us any statement by close of today. We'll give them by midday tomorrow. But like we said, this is matter that we don't intend to rest. We'll continue to pursue it. We'll use every legal measure. I, as a member of the finance committee, the gold board is under our oversight.
Right.
So if anything happens there, and we are now learning that Mr. Sammy, whether it's true or not, the terms of service of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is something that has been brought to question on the back of all this thing. Someone cannot be taking 125,000 Ghana cedi.
The remuneration.
The remuneration, 125,000 Ghana cedi a month. over 20,000 Ghana cedi for colonial allowance, over 20,000 Ghana cedi for fuel allowance, 6,000 for security, 5,000 for gardener, some 2,000 per day when he's traveling outside the country, 2 Land Cruisers. If these are really,
but these are normal in the public sector, especially for sensitive state institutions like Gold Board, Cocoa Board, Bank of Ghana. These are very normal.
These are humongous emoluments. These are emoluments that the president, in his own words, asked about discipline. Lean government should not be countenancing. Right? You can't say they are normal when someone is taking his monthly salary.
And the thing is that he didn't fix it. He didn't fix it.
So the people who fixed it are the people together with him. But there is what we call conscience. You can't say the fact that I'm being paid 1 million Ghana cedi, I didn't fix it, I should enjoy it. Even the very people who sat down and fixed it, if it's true, should be answering questions.
And the finance committee is not aware of anything.
They are not aware of any emolument. These are, they tell them managerial issues. They bring them after the act and asking us to ratify. And I think that as a matter of agency, the finance committee, the chairperson, will not have to shouldn't condone with it. We should call them and make sure that these matters are brought to the fore. Everyone will know how much the gentleman is earning by way of salary and emolument and remuneration. It will ensure transparency, and everyone will be happy at the end of the day.
We'll leave it here for now. We try to get through to the Deputy General Secretary. He is unavailable now to speak to us on this matter. Plus, some governance experts, they are all saying that they will speak at a later time. So we'll leave it here for now. But you've been hearing from Dr. Kabiru Mahama. He is the member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, member of Parliament for Walewale in the North East region. Doug, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much.
And of course, let's take a short break here on the pod. When we return, we'll still talk about dollar. The dollar is coming down, but goods at Abosokan and other places are still the same. Why? We have answers for you relating to that question when we come back. And of course, we are still talking about the dollar this afternoon, but in relation to another matter equally important for you and me, because we are at the final end of this chain. Now, traders at Abosokan, one of Ghana's trading hubs, are defying a directive by the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, to reduce prices of goods and services to reflect the substantial gains made by the Ghana cedi against major currencies, including the US dollar. Now, data available to our research team has shown a 5.3% appreciation by the cedi, prompting GUTA for a reduction in prices of goods. But the traders say GUTA cannot dictate to them. Now, they spoke to my colleague, Collins Frimpong.
I pray they made us. It's good though, but we can't reduce our goods. But the goods we have now is something we have already bought them in stock already. So we can't reduce it due to the appraisal they have made. And the dollar issue now is not from the government. We know the whole global market, what's happening now. From China to America to Russia, a whole lot. So that's why we are receiving this current dollar rate. But maybe within some short time, the dollar will go up. What are we going to do when we reduce the goods? And I'm going to buy a new one. What should I do? Automatically, I'm going to lose a lot of money. So you have to hold on for some time being. If you are able to manage this dollar for about 6, 7 months, 8 months, it's good. We have to reduce them for the customer to buy for us. But currently, we can't reduce it now.
If I get you right, you don't really believe that the gains that the cedi has made within the year, as long as a result of internal measures, policies that the government and the Bank of Ghana has put in place, but because of the external factor?
Yes, please. Yes. That's the reason why the dollar has reduced. Because for about 3-4 months, I don't see anything much the government has done so that the dollar will come down automatically like this. The government is helping, but we all know what is happening. So I think that's the reason why the dollar is coming down currently. So the government have to at least do more for us to sustain this dollar rate now. Because we really like it when the dollar is down. It will help us. Our goods will go for us. They will buy it. But if the dollar is high, we can't even reduce anything for us. You cannot even do sales. So automatically, the government have to work hard for that to come down or to sustain it for this level for us, so that next time, or at least for about 3-4 months, I'm saying 7 months time, automatically every goods will come down for me, for you, for our customers.
Well, some consumers and retail traders in Kumasi are eagerly anticipating a reduction in the cost of commodities on the market as the cedi gains strength against some major trading currencies. Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, they've advised trading community to consider cutting down the cost of commodities to offer respite to consumers. But the directive has been met with mixed reaction from traders. Some cite the high cost of utility, cost of borrowing and taxes as reason to attempt an immediate price reduction. My colleague Irabina Akwe engaged with some consumers and traders in Kumasi and filed this report.
The cedi has seen some appreciation against the dollar in recent weeks. However, many Ghanaians say this improvement has not translated into a reduction in the cost of goods and services on the market. So what do everyday citizens make of this? We hit the market today to find out.
The of the cedi is very good. It's good for the economy. Obviously, imports will be cheaper, and we're expecting that prices will start coming down. However, the traders are not obliging, and it's something that we think the government has to work on.
If the dollar is now deflation, by all means, there must be, the prices must go down, so everybody can buy anything that you want.
Saturday, I'm a fan.
I went to stock items this Saturday and prices remain the same. But when prices increase today, they will increase their prices too. Some people even increase it without going to the stock market because they believe it will increase by the time they go there.
Old price nana.
We still buy some stuff at the old price, but at the end of the month, we are hopeful that it will reflect in prices.
Meanwhile, leadership of businesses have been reacting to the developments, and the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is urging traders to adjust their prices to reflect the city's performance in the local markets.
As much as we appreciate that our city is gaining some strength, it must be stated that forest is not the only determinant in terms of our price build-up. There are other factors we consider in determining the price of markets.
Such as?
You look at cost of borrowing. If you're into manufacturing, you want to look at tariffs, utility tariffs. You want to look at inflation. We want to look at taxes. We want to look at positive correlation that forests will have on all these indicators we talk about. As we speak now, cost of borrowing is still the same. As we speak now, consumption tax, which is VAT, is the same. You get my point? So yes, we've seen some little drop of inflation by 100 basis points, fine. But that is not enough in terms of your price build-up.
All right, so let's put this matter to some analysis. And of course, let me bring in the president of the Federation of Ghana Traders, Nana Kwesi Prempeh. Nana Kwesi Prempeh, good afternoon and welcome to the program. Nana Prempeh, if you can unmute for me, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon and thanks for having me.
All right, also joining us via Zoom, I'm privileged to say that we have the Sector Minister for Trade and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejare. Honorable Minister, good afternoon and a pleasure to have you here. Right, so Honorable Minister, if you can unmute for me, good afternoon and welcome to the program. Right, so we'll try and get the Minister's attention. And then also Emmanuel Hineyeba is also joining us. He's from the Ghana Transport Coordinating Council. So Nana Prempeh, why is it so difficult for traders to reduce their prices, more especially when the dollar is no longer a major concern? Nana Prempeh, if you can hear, yes, please go on.
In fact, it is the desire of every citizen that whenever we go to the market and we are to buy goods, we will buy it at a cheaper cost. We traders are also consumers as well, so it is not in the interest of traders that we will hike the prices of goods at the detriment of others. Because the product that we sell, we also buy different items from other colleague traders. So definitely we all anticipate that there should be low prices of goods. But as we all know, there are several factors that contribute to the high cost of goods in Ghana. And luckily enough, I think the government is working hard to bring some of these factors down. We talk about inflation currently is coming down, but interest rates is coming down. Is good. But we believe that there are several other factors, though the city is appreciating, and every citizen is calling for the reduction of prices of goods. But we believe that it cannot be spontaneous. It should be gradual and systematic, because we've already stocked goods in the previous quarter. So we anticipate that in the coming days or weeks, the reduction will come itself.
But the thing is that you traders are always quick to adjust prices as soon as the dollar begins to go up, and it's always a very convenient excuse to make. Now that we've seen a downward trend, you are telling us that you already have goods in stock, so until they are cleared, you cannot let the price reflect.
Oh, as I said, there are several factors, including the forex. So now we've all seen that though the dollar has appreciated for some day, about 2-3 weeks now, but is this sustainable? Because as a trader, as a businessman, you have to forecast at least for the next 1 month, for the next 2 months, how is the forex going to be? So you cannot just jump and say, yes, within the last 2 weeks or so, the city has appreciated, so automatically I have to reduce my waste. No, as I said earlier, you have to study the market terrain, because the government has not hedged the rate so that it will help you in planning ahead. It is fluctuating, though it is reducing, but it's still fluctuating. So as businessmen, we have to study the terrain for some time before we make some adjustments.
Let me bring in the perspective of an economist, Dr. Daniel Enim. Dr. Enim, good afternoon, welcome. And I mean, listening to the traders all the way from Abosso-Okan to Kumasi, do they have a case?
Thank you very much. First, I must admit that what is happening to our economy now is quite a good news. That the city is beginning to gain grounds, and that is progressive and positive, and it's other way for the economy as it stands now. Now, back to the substantive question that you asked. In fact, first we are in a free market economy where the prices of goods and services basically are determined by the marginal forces of demand and supply, and other factors, that goes into the pricing mechanism. One of such has to do with the forest, especially an economy that is import driven.
Right.
Now, the point is that if at the time, that the city begins to gain grounds, a business person has already purchased a certain worth of goods which is in the warehouse, which is yet to be sold. It will not be fair to expect a person to reduce the price of that particular product. Other the person may run at loss. What we should be pushing, in my respective view, is that those who are now importing into the economy should take into consideration the performance of the local currency, so that their prices will reflect. And if we are able to segregate the information and appeal to the conscience of the traders, my view is that they should be able to align. They said one thing which I quite agree, that of course, and this is because of our economic history, we are trying to pay recourse to economic history, where we have seen over the period that the macroeconomic indicator, let me even speak to the dollar. We have seen the performance of the city for a particular period. By the time you say Jack, it increases.
Right.
So they are looking at a sustained performance of the local currency as against the dollar over a period. And if that is done, they may have the confidence now that the government is putting in a policy and a mechanism to ensure to improve the value of the city. In other words, we now have so much dollar in the system that at any point in time that a business person needs that dollar, will be able to have access to, hence the performance of the city.
Right.
Inflation is also falling down, and if that trend continues, it further gives confidence in the economy that government policies yielding the necessary dividend. Naturally, you wouldn't expect or you wouldn't have to tell traders to reduce prices.
They'll do it themselves.
Form a line. That's the point.
If you can kindly hold it for me, Dr. Enim, because the minister is traveling and we've gotten her via Zoom now. Let me quickly bring in the minister responsible for trade and industry, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare. And it's a privilege to have you here. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, sir.
And let me say congratulations to you, Honorable. And of course, for some of us who grew up in Sunyani, you always serve as a beacon of hope for us. And I'm happy for you. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So for the traders, those at Abosu Okaim and those we've heard from Kumasi, they say that, they are happy the dollar has come down, inflation has come down, interest rate is coming down. The business environment is beginning to look quite accommodating, yet they can only let this reflect in their prices if the ones they have in stock are out of the way, because they brought in goods that attracted a certain dollar pledge, and therefore it will make no economic sense to reduce them now. Is this something that you find acceptable?
Thank you very much. I have since called the president of GUTA. I work closely with them for a meeting with the other trade associations. We all know that in Ghana, we don't control prices. And so government cannot really push price reduction on them. But because we work together, we can always discuss and see how the stable cedi will benefit both consumers and traders. And that is only fair, because there have been times that the dollar has gone up and traders have increased their prices. So if the dollar is this stable and has appreciated this much, I think that we need to regroup and see the way forward. I also commend GUTA for even taking the step to prevail on the traders to reduce the cost of their goods. And so I think that at that meeting, we will brainstorm and come to a very good conclusion, which will benefit both traders and then consumers. But I've heard one argument which says that they bought the things already, but I think that we can discuss. They can take advantage and buy some at this time as the dollar is low, put it together, find the averages. I'm sure at the meeting it will be very useful, the discussion that we'll have. GUTA is ready to sit with the traders and other trade associations to ensure that at least all our customers also benefit from the stable environment that we are enjoying.
But clearly government has done something to get the dollar to reflect whatever has been done in the background, because it is not only dollar that is coming down, inflation is doing so, and interest rates. So clearly something is being done from the governmental.
Certainly.
Yes.
Exactly. You know, the dollar is about demand and supply like any commodity. And now because there is dollar in the system, you can buy dollar at a good rate. Now the business community have confidence in the government. The finance ministry is doing well, gold is doing great, the gold board is doing well. They are posting the export and the money they are bringing in because of the investor confidence. People are not taking away their dollar. And you see the business environment generally is good. And if government has been able to achieve this, I'm sure that it is good that everybody in the country benefit from it. And so we'll continue to engage GUTA and the trade association to ensure that they see reason to make sure that we all benefit from the business environment that Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Ghanaians have created.
But are you certain that this won't be an idea wonder that this appreciation will be sustained?
All of us working together, I am sure that it will be sustained.
And how soon will this meeting be called?
In fact, I'm traveling. I'm just coming to Accra. And so I've spoken to the president of GUTA. We will speak again this evening because, we just had a discussion, and I'm sure that we'll do this latest by Wednesday morning.
And we've got their leaders on the phone. In terms of them showing some kind of solidarity with what government has done so far, would you appeal to their conscience to play ball even before that meeting, takes place?
Certainly. As I indicated earlier, the government has tried. The government has created the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Our city has become strong. Anytime the city depreciates, traders increase their prices, it is just fair, it is just conscionable that prices are reduced to reflect the measures that government has put in place. If the traders are magnanimous enough to reduce their prices, it also encourage government to keep on doing all the right things, because government will know that once it does the right thing, every citizen will benefit. And I'm sure that the traders are benefiting, and they will benefit more if they really bring the prices to terms with the rate of the CD to the dollar.
All right, because you are.
And so if they are listening to me, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, your sector minister is here. We know that government does not control prices, but we also know that it's the duty of the government to create an enabling environment for your businesses to thrive. It is just fair that you also reduce your prices so that everybody can benefit, even as you also benefit. So this is how I appeal to them.
And I wish you safe journey back to Accra. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your time this afternoon. Let me bring in also for some perspective on this matter, because, you know, this is a fluid, you know, situation. It can go up, the next day it is down. The next day is down, the next hour it is up. Dr. Richmond Etuahene is a banking consultant. Doctor, you've listened to the traders, you've heard the minister. Now I'm just reading an article that came out some few hours ago. The Straits Times in London, the US dollar soared and government bonds sold off as the market reacted to the de-escalation in the trade war between China and America, which agreed to lower some tariff for 90 days. A gauge of dollar strength rose to as much as 0.9%, and the yen, a traditional haven, plunged as progress in stock risk appetite across, you know, asset classes. Dr. Chua, this clearly doesn't give me comfort that our city will continue to appreciate.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving me another opportunity to explain this. I mean, this morning I've been to one of your sister stations to do the same thing as you have just said. We have what we call the lead and the lag. I'm going to explain it simple for you. Those who have actually contracted loans or who have sold goods earlier, they are in a better position to go and pay today.
Right.
You get it? Because now, with little cities, you make up the dollar. But those who have already brought in the goods, they brought the goods at the higher rate. So if you tell him to go and sell the goods at $13, basically you're running down his capital. That is why in economics or international trade, we have what we call the lead and the lag. The lag means that those who are paying outside are benefiting. But those who actually bought the goods earlier cannot sell at the lower price at all. At all. It is never done anywhere.
Right.
What they will do in the next reordering time, when they have to reorder their things, then they will reorder at the 13 so that they can come and sell to the people. So it is not as simple as people are saying that they should reduce it and reduce it. Those who are benefiting, if you have imported spare parts from London and you haven't paid, today, if you bought it last December or January, you are the best person. So you are leaving. But those who will lag behind are those who have actually brought the commodity which they haven't sold. They need to sell before they do the reorder. And they wouldn't do it and lose business. So that is how it is. Going back to your question.
Right.
You know, what Trump did, if he hadn't come to his sense, yesterday there was a U.S. global investor report. If Trump has not agreed with the Chinese, I can assure you the euro would have gone to, the gold would have reached $6,000 by the end of this year. And it's affecting, Elon Musk. If you loan Elon Musk, do we know just about 1 month, he has lost $160 billion.
Right.
And because of that, Trump is now coming back to his senses that there is World International Trade Organization which sets up this agenda. You don't just get up unilaterally one day and decide to do that. And when he did it, people started moving out from the dollar and going into gold. I'm telling you. And that is why today, you were saying 10%. I saw 3% when I checked Bloomberg. The dollar has now appreciated by 3%, while gold has also declined by 3%. So people are now saying that the man is coming back to his senses. Let us begin to go into dollar, not in gold. But even good business, any good businessman, with what Trump, the way he's behaving, it is better to have gold, hedge in gold rather than to hedge in dollar. And that is what is going to reflect the next 2 years or 1 year. Because at least he is not listening to the global, and China has become so powerful. Once upon a time, it was the American. Now the American, you Americans, some of your accessories are imported from China.
Right.
So you don't just get up one morning and say that you 150%. You as if you are a headmaster. He's forgotten that even cocoa, the Americans take cocoa, and you don't put taxes on cocoa and thinking that you can cultivate your own cocoa in America. So now he's coming back to his senses, and I like the Chinese, proving to him that they are not minnows. Currently, they are one of the powerful. I mean, they have joined a new BRIC. If you saw BRIC, have you heard BRIC?
Well, of course.
The BRIC is becoming more powerful. One time, if they don't take it, it will be bigger. 2050, it will be bigger than the IMF and the World Bank. Because now they have realized that we need to pitch a camp where one currency will not be telling us what we should do. That is why now Trump, after doing it, at least today's evidence from Bloomberg, tells me that he has not seen this common sense he had to go by. But not to say, I am champion of the world. Now, you cannot be champion because the Chinese are strong. The Indians, everybody, except the Africans. If the Africans were also to come together and have all our resources like gold, that's why I like President Mahama. He has said something, and I want to encourage him, and I said this morning, all the gold exports, let them come and sit on the table and renegotiate all your gold contracts. Those who will not prefer to listen to it, they should leave. Botswana did it. They survived. Makafuli in Tanzania, before he died, he also did it. He survived. And currently, Namibia, the woman president, is telling the Americans that you cannot come and take your uranium like that and decide what you want to. So he has always sacked all the Americans working with the uranium and gold. So let Trump come back to his common sense that the world is not America. The world is global, and he should respect it. That's why gold, if he had continued what he did today, gold would be at 4,000 per ounce. And then he realized that. He quickly went to Switzerland and negotiated, and the Chinese are saying that, look, we agree, we'll come to 10%. But even that, all good countries will not be hedging in dollar. They'll be hedging in gold because gold is an asset that you have. And let me tell you something that has happened today. The Basel Committee for Banking Supervision,
right,
the international banking supervisor all over the world, today, starting from July 1st, banks like Bank of Ghana, their capital, the gold they have, they can call it tier 1 capital, and Bank of Ghana can be recapitalized within a space of time.
All right.
They are now not taking dollar; they are taking gold as part of your tier 1. So you see how the global system is changing. So Ghana is not will not be sitting down thinking that the gold was going to go and go and go, and that's why we need to put the fundamentals need to be put right. The fundamentals are not right.
Because I was coming to ask, you've answered part of my question. I was coming to ask, as far as Ghana is concerned, even though the strength of the dollar may not only be local, but partly international, what can we also do to sustain this, the strength that the city appears to have picked up? What can we do in our own small way to sustain it?
Thank you, Edson. We need to have at least 3 major strategies. We need a short-term strategy. One of the short-term strategies I've just told you that all the mining companies, be they South African, American, Canadian, they should come to the table. Because I can tell you, between 2014 and 2022, Ghana extracted 43 billion worth of gold. To shock you, only 6.7 billion came to Bank of Ghana, which is about 14% or 15%. Yes. So when people talk about gold, that's why I want to take my hat off for President Mahama. He should call a spade a spade. If you can't do it, pack and go. Botswana did, and today Botswana is doing 40% of diamond.
Right.
And we should not let people take 15%. The young man at Burkina Faso, they have constructed more roads over the last 3 years than Ghana. When they took over the resources, he's doing great things. So we cannot sit here and thinking that the West, we have interest. Let Ghanaians begin to think that we need to take our own mantle and begin to run our race. Number one, that is the mining.
Right.
Number two, you live in economy blessed with water, blessed with land, and you cannot feed yourself. You cannot feed yourself. Let the people begin to think that agriculture should be supported like any other business. So that in the next 3-4 years, we will not be sitting here. When you go to Ivory Coast, they don't import tomatoes and onions from area. They cultivate it. We cannot even plant yam and rice. We don't plant yams and maize and millet. How can you live your staple food you can't produce? So let them have a strategy, a medium term, to make sure that agri becomes the topmost, even than the mining. Because mining goes with destruction of the environment. Agri, if you do it well, it will help you. Number three,
right.
Let us have serious export diversification. Serious, because if you can't even plant, how can you export? If you cultivate more, yam is there, plantain is there, cassava is there, then you begin to think about export. Once upon a time, non-traditional export, I'll tell you, non-traditional export, Dr. Kwesigo Ketai, a pineapple was contributing so much. Now all these things have gone by. So let the country come back and sit down. The next one that I think I want to commend the Minister of Finance, I don't know, Doctor, I've forgotten his name.
Dr. Tuforsen.
Yes, I want to take my hat off. I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that. Last year, the total budget of this country was 279 billion. When he came, he saw that there are a total of weaknesses and leakages. His budget is 260, I think 261, about 10 billion more. And he hasn't even stopped that. He's plugging the holes, like people were creating losses and losses and losses. He has started plugging the holes. So we call it the fiscal consolidation, the fiscal discipline, and the fiscal diversification. And that chart he's taking, if he can take it to the end, I'm telling you, Ghana currency will be strong.
All right.
These are the only 4 things I can tell you for the time being. If you want me to go on, there are about other 5 of them.
I think we'll find time to bring you in the studio so that we can expatiate on this matter. But I'd like to say thank you so much. That is a mouthful, Dr. Tuahene. But let me go back to Dr. Enim. Dr. Enim, you heard Dr. Tuahene. The minister says that he's hoping to meet with Guta and the other traders to see how best the country, the consumer, can benefit more from the new business environment that looks favorable for businesses. What would be your suggestion as this meeting is about to happen?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, I would like to recommend the minister for such a mechanism, okay? So she, as soon as she touched base in Accra, by God's grace, safely, she needs to arrange a meeting, just like she indicated by Wednesday the meeting will come on, because it's very important. Stakeholder engagement is very key and critical. And I've indicated that previously we've not seen much of stakeholder engagement. And then secondly, in her engagement with Gupta leadership, communication is very key, okay, and critical, and how messages are presented to people must be persuasive in nature.
Right.
Okay, it must not be authoritative and commanding. So these are some of the things that which some of us we see it. As part of the engagement, she must encourage the leadership of Gupta or any other union that she intends to persuade, that in communicating to the sub-units within the mother umbrella, communication must be persuasive, and that is very key and critical. Okay, but one of the things, just to come to the issue, is that yes, at the end of the day, the discussion should be about, just like the Honorable Minister said, about both parties. Okay, a dialogue and negotiation that at the end of the day, the traders may also benefit as well as with the consumers, and that is also key. But one of the things that I would like to put across, and I'll pick it from what Dr. Tuahene have indicated, and that is key, is that apart from the Honorable Minister engaging the traders, there should also be an engagement between him and then the Honorable Finance Minister, which is very key. Because when the Finance Ministry is unable to pursue policies to ensure the continuous performance of the local currency, that may hit at his ministry, because prices of goods and services there again will start going up, and of course people will start complaining. I must also recommend that as much as government is working very hard to ensure that we have a stable macroeconomic environment, they must tread cautiously. The celebration is too early. They must put their eyes on every macroeconomic indicator, which is very important. The forest, the inflation, then the overall cost of doing business, okay, and other variables that ensure stability. I understand as politicians, you need to let the people know that you have started work and you are doing some work. But the focus should be on the critical variables that will ensure stability. And the Honorable Finance Minister shouldn't take his eye off that, as well as the Honorable Trade Minister. It is very key and critical. To me, the celebration is too early. Let's bring all ideas to text. Let's harness all the policies together and ensure that we project and predict what will happen within the medium term. Any external shock and any other reaction from the global players that may have impact or may affect our ability to beef up our reserve at the Bank of Ghana. So we must be proactive in terms of the measures and the mechanisms to ensure that we mitigate any external shocks or external policy that may affect our inability to bring in more inflows in terms of the dollar to be able to meet demand as when the request may make. So to me, these are some of the things that are largely important, but also recognize the minister's effort that we want to engage in dialogue. And that is the way to go in the free market economy. It is not about imposition. When it becomes very critical, we understand government can interfere into the market and try to make certain policies, okay? But doing it must be persuasive in nature, and also assuring the citizens and then the business community that the policies of government, even in the medium term, will be able to, support their activities and operations going forward. And to me, that is more critical. Because the economics of the dollar, it's about supply and demand.
You're right.
And then also, let me add this point and then respectfully, the minister also is in charge of agribusiness. So along that value chain, they should be able to expedite policies that will ensure that we add value to whatever we produce in order to bring in more inflows, to beef up our reserves at the Bank of Ghana. And that's the only way to address to help the value of the cities by minimizing the depreciation of the local currency going forward.
All right. Dr. Dananim is Chief Economist at PIED. Thank you so much for your time this hour. Let me Nana Prempeh, so you heard the sector minister. She says she will hold a meeting on Wednesday. If you are going to this meeting, what are you carrying with you? What would be your suggestion to the minister? Yes, if you can unmute from Nana Prempeh. And I just want to find out, the minister says that on Wednesday, she's hoping to meet with all interest groups to see how best, this will reflect on the final consumer. And I'm asking, what would be your suggestion if you are to attend this meeting on Wednesday? Come back, let's touch this briefly and then we'll move to some other story before we go. Now, apart from concerns over prices, call for reduction of transport fares are also intensifying. Now, let me bring in the General Secretary of the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, Emmanuel Oheneyeboah. Mr. Yeboah, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Mr. Yeboah, yes, good afternoon. So I was wondering, the traders at Obosuokan, those especially into the business of spare parts, they say that they will do price reduction in their next consignments, even though the dollar has come down. Is it a case that transport unions are also waiting to see spare parts go down before they also effect changes in transport fares?
Thank you very much, my brother. The issue is this dollar CD depreciation thing. it's not something that we can say for sure that we can rely on, given the fact that it has happened before. Maybe it goes up, it comes down, the next day it goes up. So talking about any transport fare reduction will depend on how we are assured by, government to the effect that we are going to have a long spell of, dollar stability, so that we can have, our discussion and see how best we can reduce it. Mind you, this thing happened just last week, and if you care to know, the whole of last year we didn't increase travel fares, and we have been running at these supposed increases in the spare parts for all these years without considering any increase, given the fact that we felt that there was so much, the public was things were hard by the traveling public. So
all right.
we had to manage to keep some of our losses to ourselves. So before we can even consider this, we have to look at maybe monitor the trend for a while, and maybe we'll meet as a group and see how.
But Mr. Yeboah, in the case of transport unions, I think you really don't have a case here. I mean, the last 3 or 4 windows, fuel prices actually came down, yet you are still charging the old price.
Can you help me with the percentage reduction?
Well, I cannot be so certain of that, but it has come down at least in the last 4 windows.
Okay, you see, I agree with you to some extent, but the reduction in the fuel prices over the last 4 windows is not that significant that can trigger transport fare reduction. Notwithstanding, you see, we have a new sector minister who we are yet to meet to discuss some of these things, especially with the price reduction. We had some meeting about just before the Easter holidays, and that was an anticipation of the fuel price reduction.
Right.
So I think we'll have to maybe initiate the discussion again at this level and see how best we can look at it. But for now, if you ask me as an operator, what I would say is that we need to make sure that this dollar stability is something that we can be sure that is going to last for maybe minimum 3 months. Then we are all sure that whatever reduction we do will not affect our operations in the near future.
All right, let's leave it here. Thank you so much. Mr. Ohene is with the transport unions. Now, to some other stories, the Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, George Opariado, has revealed that government is working towards formalizing the Work Abroad initiative by signing memorandum of understanding with partner countries in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. The move is designed to ensure the legal structured and then lead to the exploitation of Ghanaian labor.
Brain drain because it has not been regularized. Brain drain because government is not getting anything out of the investment he's making into these young people. The people will migrate anyway. So if they will migrate, why don't we do it in a way that is sustainable, decent, and regularized? A lot of our sisters are being taken advantage of because of how they migrate out of this country. So if they are going to go, why don't we do it in a way that we can export this labor legally and make sure government keeps an eye on those who are going out there? Because you see, the Philippines, there are Filipinos all over. They export labor. There are Cuban doctors all over. We have nurses who have been home for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years because we've not been able to post them. Meanwhile, Europe is in need of nurses. So if we can do or run a program that can help them move out, because you see, there are certification processes they must go through. And that is how can these middlemen take advantage of them. So if government can regularize it and take charge of this program and help them migrate legally through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Youth Development, I think is a master stroke and we must support it.
Well, Mr. Opariado further emphasized the high level of interest among Ghanaians in this new government initiative aimed at carefully managing both skilled and unskilled labor. This initiative intends to address the growing concern of Ghanaians becoming stranded in foreign countries.
Wants to do is government is signing MOUs with organizations abroad. If your citizen leaves this country and you're a government that cares, you must be able to follow and understand and know where he or she is going to. So government is going to do that. We get phone calls, we get distress phone calls from our sisters, our brothers in other jurisdictions. That, oh, somebody told me I should come and do a nanny job here. I've come and they are abusing me and they are doing this to me. Let the government come and take me back. Not too long ago, I joined the ILO to welcome returnees back to Ghana.
So the objective is to cure that?
It's to cure that and make sure that there is a proper process so that people, because we can export labor like other countries do.
Now, the Ashanti Regional Anti-Galamsey Task Force is extending its Galamsey fight to the protection of cocoa farms under siege by illegal miners. This follows incessant calls from cocoa farmers in rural areas over the destruction of their farms by illegal miners. Anaya Aljima has more in this report.
In 2021, the Ghana Cocoa Board said 19,000 hectares of farmland had been destroyed in key cocoa growing areas like the Western and Ashanti regions. Years on, the phenomenon has continued, negatively affecting the country's cocoa sector. Aside from the takeover of farmlands, water sources used in the cultivation of cocoa and other purposes on farms are destroyed by the activity. Amecha, a cocoa farmer at Bebiani, speaks of the challenges. She says the illegal miners are forcefully taking over our cocoa farms. They refuse to pay us for that. Our water bodies are also being destroyed. According to the Ashanti Region Anti-Galamsey Task Force, complaints about the activities of illegal miners in cocoa growing areas are often received. Alongside the fight to rid river bodies and forest reserves of illegal miners, the team has resorted to take interest in cocoa growing areas. National Security Liaison in Ashanti Region, Captain Retired John Kwame Jabari, speaks of plans to rescue the farmers.
As you are aware, we have dealt with the forest reserves already, so we are now looking at the water bodies and those in the waterways, and especially those who are destroying our cocoa farms. Cocoa is the future of Ghana, so we will not allow Galamsey people to bring down the production of cocoa. So when we went to the place that we went to, apart from them destroying the river body, a number of cocoa farms have been brought down by this menace in those areas over there. So that prompted us to come to the place, and most of the time it's not our own intel. It is the citizens over there who come and give us the information that these people are destroying our cocoa farms, these people are destroying our water bodies. That brings us to conduct those operations over there.
Over the years, the Cocoa Board has expressed worry over the negative impact of illegal mining on the country's cocoa production. Though little results have been achieved, CEO of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abbey, has expressed interest in joining the cause.
We've been cooperating with the National Security Council since I came into office. So it is something that we're doing. It is something which is dear to His Excellency the President. And so all the security agencies are on board. And it's something that we need to really do. We need to do that, and we need to do that very well. But once we do that, we need to also put in place the necessary legal framework to back this.
Meanwhile, the concerned Small-Scale Miners Association wants the task force to stay within forceful takeovers. President Michael Kwadwo insists some cocoa farms were legally acquired for mining purposes.
We need to understand that mining comes with distraction. And in so doing, if the person has his license, and even if it's a cocoa farm, and the farmers are willing to give it out, I think the law permits them to mine within that confirmed demarcated area. So we don't really understand why in Ashanti region alone they are taking these operations to people who have their license or people who are mandated to mine responsibly. I think going forward, we'll have a discussion with the security coordinator and then the regional minister, so that at least the modalities which were set aside by the sector minister will be followed.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, and obviously we are ending it now, but there are so many stories on myjoyonline.com. There's a new development regarding the Japan Anasa Remeyao court case. The court has slashed the $18 million, cost it imposed on Kennedy upon to just $500 US. Details available on myjoyonline.com plus other stories. But whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. My name is Elton Brobe. Have a good evening and take care.